Hey folks, welcome back to the channel, your home for all content Lord of the Rings home. Today I'm going to talk about a character that's very near and dear to my heart right now, and that's Ugluk. I think he's pretty much king of the arena. I know Elrond just came out, and so I know this video isn't going to be geared towards people with Elrond and those older, like more, people who are higher level, but this is for people who are just getting into the game or a little bit lower level, and why I think they should be using Ugluk in the arena as opposed to just doing all Rohan or something like that. He's just very good. But I will say, I'm going to show you some footage now of my free-to-play account beating an Elrond team, a Rivendell team, in a punch across. And so that's what I have up here. Before we go through the kit and I talk about why I love Ugluk so much, let's watch a little bit of footage to show that, this team is not so bad and that Ugluk is pretty good and that Elrond is not all they're made out to be. Sorry, let me restart that just to make a note here. I'm going for this 12K team right here. So low power, obviously the Rivendell team is synergy and skill based as opposed to being just like stat beasts. So as they get higher level, as they get those skills on, you're not gonna be able to do this. I've got 11.8K. That team was like what, 12.4K or something like that, 12.2K. So this is basically a punch across. I've got Ugluk in the lead here. Eomer, Eowyn, Ironhide, and Strider. So decent AoE damage with Strider and Ironhide. And then some good support with Eowyn, getting that might out, being able to disable Ugluk, king of the arena, obviously. And then Eomer's got good single target damage, and his assist mechanic is really, really great. Right at the start here, my OBS crapped out on recording the actual screen, so I just got to turn it off. Let's see if I can skip forward a little bit. Okay. So basically Elrond here went first, attacking my Eowyn, and my whole goal here is essentially that I'm trying to go for Elrond. Obviously, because Elrond here went first, he got that fortitude up, and so the blind didn't stick from Ugluk. We're going to go through all of this, but I just wanted to showcase a little bit of footage that, if you're kind of lower in rank, there's still some ways to solve the Rivendell team, and that you shouldn't be so worried about people who have it. I think Ugluk's just going to take you far in the arena no matter what. Whole goal here is, again, just to go for Elrond first. So far, 0 for 2 for Ugluk's landing buffs, but again, they've got the fortitude up there, so it's pretty hard, actually. Now I'm just trying to basically get through Elladan, and then switching back over. The big thing I noticed here was essentially Ironhide just has insane AoE damage, and then being able to use basics and then have Eomer follow up with that is really big. So right there, getting 2 stacks of Unbreakable down on Elrond. Obviously, there's one left, and then he does, hits me with the drink. But boom, Elrond's out, and everybody else is not doing so hot either. So I go for Arwen next. Everybody's probably already procced her ability to basically have that nimble come up after 50%, but I just don't want her support abilities popping off again, and I'm just trying to kill everybody except Elladan, leave him for last while I have the opportunity. I should be going for Elra here next. Okay, stuck behind Elladan at the moment. I think Elra here was under stealth. He has the stealth animation when he's not under stealth sometimes, and that does confuse an idiot like me sometimes. So here, the reason I'm using blind is I think Elladan's AoE might be up, and so I don't want to risk it, but also, just to get a little bit of extra healing. So you're going to see it obviously comes down to who you would expect, Ironhide. This is the way it goes for a lot of matches early on, and to be honest with you, and so that's why I recommend having him there. But Ugluk definitely helps, and I don't think I would be able to do this with something like an Eowyn leader and running just like mostly a Rohan team with Eothane. I don't think it works as well. You really want to have that control with Ugluk, which we're going to get into in just a moment here. So you can see I'm in gold 1 in my free-to-play account. I believe that's shard 8. I'm level 44 here. And then I think I show just... Yeah, so here's my team again. 11.8K. Not too bad. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the video, which is why I love Ugluk so much, and you should be using him on your arena team, especially if you don't have Elrond. Multiple times in the past, I was trying to basically sub out characters from my arena team, and specifically for Ugluk. So when, Eladin got released, when Arwen got released, I kept being like, oh, I can just drop Ugluk and slot in Arwen or Eladin. And what I found was that I actually just needed Ugluk more. And then the higher end, I even dropped Ironhide before I dropped Ugluk. And a lot of that just comes down to the fact that he is just a very good character. So let's first talk about his stats. Good health, good damage, good armor, pretty decent focus, good speed, right? Ugluk. This is sorted by health right now. Very hot, just under Ironhide, right? Let's look at damage. Ugluk down here. He's not got the best damage, but he's still, top half. Very good. Armor, third. I actually don't know what his focus is. Oh, it's not bad, but not as good as you would hope. But that's okay because he's got weak-minded, right? And then speed. He's up here and then like what is that? The top 20? So he's a stat beast. The man is a stat beast. He's really easy to farm. He's got a great kit. That's what we're going to go over now. All right, let's talk about it. The basic. What I love about his basic is the provoke that he gets. I know it can seem scary, especially when you're a newer player, to like always game provoke on him. He's got the HP and the armor to sort of take that tankiness. But in arena, it's really important because it sort of throws in this extra mix of like, oh, I can't target who I want to be targeting because every once in a while, Ugluk is going to get another provoke. And actually in the Shard 1 high-end arena, when I still see Ugluks, almost all of them have this basic skill max. So he gets 2 stacks of provoke. Again, just doing this off-tanking sort of support. Get some stuff off of your main tanks, making sure that your damage dealers and your support characters and your healers are doing well as well. Okay, let's talk about his special one. So his special one is something you can use at turn 1 as well. Yeah, it's turn 1 even when you get the stamina reduced, I believe. And it's just inflicting a blind. So early game, pretty much everybody uses this to put a blind on Strider. So that when the AI Strider goes, he does his big AoE attack, but he misses everybody. I think it's great for a bunch of different cases. You can use it on Ironhide. You can use it on Brute if you're facing Brute for some reason. You can put it on Elra here so that all of his retaliates miss. It's so good. And I know people sometimes talk about like, well, my blind on my Ugluk isn't really landing. And that's because you do have to put the gear and the stats into him. He does well when you kind of pump up the stats that he naturally has. And you need that extra focus to be able to land the blinds. I will say that he does need that gear and the levels to be able to do these types of things. But this is incredible for basically reducing damage on your team across the board. Terrific skill. Special 2. So you use this on the second turn, and this has a disable. Basically an ability block, right? What I love about this, when I typically use it, is Halbarad or some other tank like Eothane has got their provokes off. And I will then use my disable to prevent Halbarad from healing or to prevent Eothane from doing his big attack that gives everybody counter, right? The defensive is also really great. We'll keep in mind for that later. But this, just a special 1 and a special 2. They don't have very long cooldowns. There's kind of middle of the road cooldowns. They come up decently frequently. But his special 1 is able to basically control damage, and a special 2 can take out support characters as well and control damage. So, if you're coming down to just a few characters left in your arena fight, you are able to control whether they're hitting and whether they're doing support skills, anything like that. It's a tool that is invaluable. Let's talk about his passive. I think his passive actually is sort of underrated when talking about his skills. He hits plus 25% block chance, which means he reduces that damage already from an attack. This goes along well with the fact that he gets provoke and his overall tankingness. And then on block, inflict weak-minded. So we're going to come back, right? He gets a defensive when he does his special 2. That'll put weak-minded on somebody, which reduces their resistance by 50%. This not only helps your team land all of their debuffs anyway, and we're going to talk about this with his leadership ability about why that's important, but it means he doesn't have to have the highest focus in the world. So that, if you time things right, that second time around when you get your skills back up, he can possibly have weak-minded on the enemy and make them more susceptible to these debuffs where he can control them. I think this is a really good skill. Having a 2-turn weak-minded duration is, I don't even have this on my Ugluk, but because I'm not level 60, but this is really, really good. Reducing resistance by 50% is pretty insane. Not to mention the block chance is just more survivability. It makes him more of a tank. All right, let's talk about the leadership ability. When an Isengard squad member inflicts a Bane, obviously this includes him, heal all squad members for 2% of their max health. What I like about this, it's not overpowered, okay? So it's just this extra little bit of survivability and healing. He's got a Bane on his special 1. He's got a Bane on his special 2. And then when people attack him, you know, sometimes he has provoke. He can also put a Bane on them sort of passively. So he's automatically sort of just getting a little bit of this healing. And what I found is that in Arena, especially early game, it comes down to these small differences. Everybody's starting with a lot of the same characters. And so these small differences in heal percentage really help. So what I do in my free-to-play team is I use Ugluk, right, as a leader. I don't use Eowyn. A lot of people use Eowyn for that extra crit chance. I use Ugluk because I want just a little bit of that extra healing. And I like that, you know, he can keep a lot more of my team alive. And I've found a lot of success with that. You saw I'm a free-to-play account in Gold 1 and I believe Shard 8. That's pretty decent. So what I really like about Ugluk is summarized as follows. Not only is he a stat beast, but his entire kit synergizes so well with himself, with his team, and just with a lot of other characters. He's a very, very good plug-and-play character. I would say top 3 plug-and-play character. Halbrad up there, obviously, as well. But I want to put Ugluk up there. He's just that good. The synergy across his kit is just everything connects with everything else in a cool way that's easy to understand. And I think a lot of people don't utilize him as much as they should on their arena teams when they're kind of going through the ranks. But that's it for me. Thanks for watching.